And we're back, this time with the Euros. As usual, I have with me Carl Lewis. I have Statman and wannabe England fan Kyle Pereira. And our very special guest on the show today, Sahil Tavora. Sahil, starting with you, how's it going? How's the lockdown treating you?
Good, good, all fine. I'm sure last lockdown 2020 gave me a little bit of insight into what it's going to be like. So I think from that sense, it was nothing new. But home workouts, staying fit at home, getting busy, learning to play the guitar, things like this. Watching football. There's been a bit of a break now, but the Euro should fix that real quick.
Yeah, I saw your stories. I kind of lost 300 calories just watching your stories one day. But jokes apart, we have Kyle, our stat man, who said it's coming home and he got the flag home. England, good hopes. Look at him, shoulders pumped up. But guys, we're going to discuss the groups. We're going to discuss who's going to progress, what are each team's chances. So let's start with Group A. Sahil, starting with you. We have Italy, Wales, Switzerland, and Turkey. No brainer for you, this one, who's taking the group?
For me, I think Italy tops it. It's hard to look beyond them. A lot of their squad has a lot of players that I don't really know because I don't get to watch them in the Italian league. But you can't look past Italy for the top spot.
And Kyle, while I know it's going to be a lot of England chat with you, but in this group, Italy, like
Yeah.
we've spoken about Italy, we've spoken about the Italian league and how the defenders are, let's just put it very nicely, but aged now. And you still have Kylian and Bonucci playing. Your forward line is quick, but your spine of the team is probably the slowest in the entire tournament. So,
True.
do you see any surprises in that group?
Um, the only surprise would be in the Italian squad. There are three players, like you rightfully said. The whole spine is Donnarumma, Verratti, and which everyone is going to miss out is Ciro Immobile. Ciro Immobile has had the season of his life. 35 appearances, 20 goals, 6 assists. He's gone into the Serie A team of the season. He's going to be a big one at this Euros. And they've not conceded in any of their friendlies.
That's interesting. And Carl, while it gives me great pleasure to ask you this question, a Switzerland side whose three top players has a mention of Granit Xhaka in it. Do you see anything coming from there?
I mean, while we all say that the Italians look likely, I think we all unanimously agree that the Italians most likely look the team that's going to get out of this group. The fight for second place is all up for everyone. I mean, you can say the Swiss have a shout, Turkey and Wales. I mean, Gareth Bale himself can just carry that team on his shoulders and along with the support of Aaron Ramsey and stuff and even get them a second place finish. So it's all up that way for the first 2 points. I still think the Italy team are the favourites. However, because we don't know much about the squad and how the way they play, I mean, Kyle just mentioned also that they haven't conceded goals, which is a good thing. It's technically very Italian because they're very defensive minded. But a lot more is left to be desired as to seeing whether actually this Italian team will top this group. So I still think that it's a tough group for everyone. I think everyone's going to figure it out because for me, one of my tournament dark horses is Turkey. For some weird reason, I just think Turkey might just pop up like with people like Soyuncu and Cengiz Under and stuff playing for the league. Kalhan Oglu from AC Milan as well. They have a
Yeah.
pretty decent side, a pretty decent shout as well. So for me in this group, ideally, I'd say Italy and Wales. But the Swiss
Can
and
I can I interject over here and say that I agree with him about the dark horse probably being Turkey because, like he said, there's Cengiz Under and Soyuncu and Kalahunglu. There is also Burak Yilmaz, the veteran at 35, who just won the Ligue
Killed
1
it,
with Lille.
solid. Yeah.
Yeah, he was insane at 35 to come in, play 28 appearances, 16 goals, 5 assists, get the team of the season voted by the fans. Veteran to come and
Yeah.
save them.
I want to get all of my predictions right, so I'm not going to pick a second place for this group.
Come on, I was just going to say that you could pick Wales as Gareth Bale.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, if you look on paper, really, Wales have just Bale and Ramsey and a few others, but you can't look past Bale. He's world class on the night. He can do anything.
While they say old habits die hard, I would love to take this chance to say they also have Joe Allen, who was an ex-Liverpool player.
And Dan
I'm just going to
James.
leave it there.
And
I'm
Dan
just going to
James.
leave it there.
The Welsh Javi.
Oh shit.
But speaking of dark horses, Sahil, I'll come back to you in Group B. Now, we spoke about this a little bit before the show, which has Denmark, Belgium, Finland, and Russia. This seems quite, I mean, you can pick a one and a two in this because I think it'll be a safe bet.
Yeah, I'll pick on this. Of course, first Belgium. I think they'll go quite far in this tournament. Probably semis. I don't know how far. But second for me is Denmark because I love their midfield. I saw their lineup in one of the friendlies. Was the previous friendly? I think was Eriksson, Højbjerg, and Delaney who played for
Delaney.
Dortmund. So that's and just to control things over there. I think these three guys, good experience, great quality. So I love that midfield, and they got like Kasper Schmeichel at the back and a few others. So I like that Denmark team. And if I had to pick a dark horse, Turkey, of course, good side, but Denmark for me as well.
And what about Belgium? You think hands down winners, 3 out of 3? Because that squad is just too strong.
Yeah, Lukaku also is on fire. I don't know. De Bruyne, they say, is a doubt for 1 or 2 games. I don't know how true that is, but man, when De Bruyne is playing, Hazard may have a point to prove after getting all the stick from all the media. So he may want to come out all guns blazing. So if they have everyone firing, it's really scary, that team.
Carl, Russia and Finland, you see them getting anything? I mean, you had Russia perform well the last time in the World Cup. You can say, crowd support, and Cheryshev had probably the tournament of his life. But apart from that, Finland, not too much to show. And even Russia, guessing that it's another venue now and the crowds may not be as helpful. Do you see these guys even troubling the other two teams?
I mean, I don't really see Finland doing much damage, even though I mean they have a pretty decent squad. But I would see Russia probably throwing a spanner in the works in this group. Like I think they would probably make things a lot difficult for the Belgians and Denmarks in that group. So yeah, I mean Russia does have a fighting chance to come second in this group. I mean we've all earmarked Denmark for it, and Belgium's definitely the tournament favorites in fact. But I wouldn't write down right away Russia as well. They've got good players. They've got a good squad from that team from the last World Cup as well. So, and they've beaten younger players and better players as well. So I can give them a shot. But I'm sure KP also has players in mind from the Russian squad who can actually make an impact.
Of course, KP has players in mind. KP.
I mean, God, Kyle.
From the Russian squad, there is a little bit of a mix between experienced and younglings. The mix comes in where like a player like Mario Fernandes, experienced right back, we've seen him play many tournaments, still plays his trade at CSK. And for the youngling, we have Alexander Golovin, 21 appearances, 5 goals, 9 assists from Monaco. Had a really good season at Monaco. I mean, they could come out, but I don't know. Finland also has my eye because of certain Timo Pukki.
Oh God!
You never know.
There is one reason we come to him last. Timo Pukki is that reason.
But think about
was my FPL favorite for the first 15 minutes of the season. Oh, triple captain, double captain, everything.
Yeah, man, he proved everyone wrong, and he's back in the Premier League again. So who knows?
No, I like him actually. It's tough when you play in a promotion team. It's, when you come up and then the team starts losing and shipping goals, it's hard for a striker. But
true.
He made waves.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Group C. While it's very interesting, and you can judge my tone when I say it's very interesting, because we have Austria, we have Netherlands, we have Ukraine, and we have North Macedonia. I think, again, Sahil, starting with you, a no-brainer, I'm guessing, for the top two.
I put my money on this Netherlands and Ukraine for me. Netherlands, great. Good team, very good team. Depay, Wijnaldum, no Van Dijk, the best centre-back in the world is not there. Let's not argue about that.
Don't worry, Nathan Ake will come and do that dirty work.
But yeah, no Van Dijk is going to be a big miss. But overall, they have a youngish team. A few guys who are really good players, I think, but maybe not playing at like a top team or top European team, the Champions League. They have De Jong in midfield, De Jong, Wijnaldum, and I don't know who the third midfielder is, but that seems like a good balance. So for me, Netherlands there, and for second place, what is it? Ukraine.
Yeah.
I love to watch Zinchenko play. Even though he plays for Man City, I love him as a player. So yeah, good these two top two.
And Carl, since they are your favorite team and there's a lot of days in it, what do you think they are going to do?
Ideally, as Sahil mentioned, if they had Van Dijk in the squad, I'd probably put them as favorites. But because I've been just through tradition, follow the Dutch. I think for me, I would take it as a win that they just get out of the group and probably reach the quarters. I think that will be the standard, I would say, for the Dutch, just getting there. I mean, anything beyond that would be a miracle after that. Like, if Van Dijk was in the squad, I'd probably say no. They need to get into the semis at least. But in that group, I would say also Ukraine. I'd agree with Sahil. However, Austria, they have a really good squad as well. Like, I mean, they've got the likes of Alaba and stuff like that, and Reinhardt and stuff. So I still think Austria is that one team that can draw a span in the works, that can deny Ukraine. And even North Macedonia, the aging Goran Alev is there in
Oh,
that squad. And he's
I love
evergreen.
that story. He's my dad's age, I think, and still plays.
Yeah, and he's still evergreen, and he's been slightly doing the qualification as well. He's
Yeah,
been instrumental.
incredible,
So,
incredible.
so
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be fun to see if Macedonia again can throw a span in the works. But I think for me, it's Austria and the Netherlands. I won't say Ukraine again might just be creeping up there, but I'll give it to Austria and the Netherlands.
And Capes, in terms of influential players of the group, what's your take on that?
See, I know everyone is going for Holland, but just as a kind of to put it out there, they have Frank de Boer managing them.
Yeah.
He is the worst manager. If he proves me wrong, I'll be happy. But he got sacked from Crystal Palace after just 4 games in charge. He is
Yeah.
not going to carry this team. He is not going to set up this team right. As much as the players that they are, stacked team. Holland are a proper stacked top nation, top 7 team to come into this. But if Frank de Boer is going to have anything to do with this, I don't think they're going to do so well. And like Sahil saying also, Van Dijk's missing. Frank de Boer actually called Liverpool coaching staff and told them to get Van Dijk ready in time for the Euros after him being out for almost 10 months. That's not professional at all. You can't be calling the club and saying to get your player ready I want to use him for the Euro. Like, use another player. Anyway, but I agree also with Carl that Austria could be a huge dark horse because, like he said, David Alaba, we know his quality for the Bundesliga's giants, and now obviously moving to Madrid. But there is another player in Marcel Sabitzer. Watched him for versus England versus the friendlies. Outstanding for Leipzig. 27 goals, 27 appearances, 8 goals, 4 assists. Creative midfielder, can play across the front three. But another one in North Macedonia is Alioski. No one's thinking about him. He could play a very influential role in that North Macedonia team. But having said that, coming back to Holland, if their young boys sort of step up and do their own roles, like maybe a Ryan Gravesen or someone 19-year-old Ajax player, impressed, or maybe a Frankie de Jong playing in the center with them on the outside. And obviously, Memphis Depay, man, had a whirlwind, 20 goals this season, team of the year, team of the season, everything. It's kind of hard to choose in this group. Sorry to
interrupt. Do you know what number what position Alioski plays for Macedonia? Is he still
So apparently they've tipped him as a very versatile midfielder, but they've said, I mean, I know he plays left back for Leeds, but they've said that he's either playing left half or right half.
Because he's the only number 10 left back, I think, in world football across all the leagues. But he's really good player.
Yeah, but I mean, coming back to the topic of Van Dijk, Sahil, now since you play the top level of football as a player, we've heard now, as per what the news has said, is that Van Dijk was the one who chose his prehab for next season over the Euros. If you were a player in that kind of position, what would go through your mind? What would you pick?
I think at Van Dijk, it depends, of course, player to player. It depends on where you are, through your rehab. Maybe if he was 100% fit going into maybe the last 3 games of the season, or got some sort of rhythm before going to the Euros, maybe he would have said, okay, I'm fit. But obviously, he knows his body and he knows how he's feeling and the knee and everything. So he's probably taken a smart decision in terms of, I'll just sit this one out. He's not very old. He'll have many major tournaments to come. So I'm sure he's taken a decision based on how he feels, and you don't want to be risking yourself after a long rehab. And also, you're always worried about your performance. Sometimes if you don't have that rhythm and you haven't been playing for that long, you suddenly go to an international tournament and you're there at centre back. It takes a while to get back to things. So maybe all of these factors, and he's like, I'll just sit this one out.
So from one Liverpool player taking a smart decision to one Liverpool player maybe not taking such a smart decision, coming to Kyle Pereira's favorite group in Group D, the Czech Republic, Scotland, Croatia, and England. Again, Sahil, starting with you, is England finishing top two? Cut to the biggest frown in the world, but yes, is England finishing
Ah,
top two?
for me, England does finish top two. There may be a bit of bias there because England's one of my teams, Portugal and England. But no, it's very difficult to look past them. The squad, as we always know, at every international tournament, on paper is outstanding and incredible. Somehow they fail to perform, to that level at international tournaments. I was really looking forward to Trent playing. And that's a big bummer. I was really mad when they were saying that he shouldn't be picked and picking all other people who can't cross nowhere near as well as he can. But yeah, no, overall squad very good. Harry Kane. I mean, if England fire, I pick even Harry Kane to be Golden Boot, running in for Golden Boot as well. So for me, England and Croatia, I'm still going to pick England top, Croatia second.
And do you agree with Roy Keane when he says that Jordan Henderson, I mean, what is he singing for them? He's not fit. What is he doing in that squad? Because it's similar to the Van Dijk situation.
No, but for me, I think Henderson. It's similar, but I think Henderson brings a lot more. I mean, of course, he is just about getting fit. He played, I don't know how many minutes yesterday, missed that penalty. Okay, it happens. But I love Henderson. There may be again bias. He's one of my favorite players. I think you can't. He does so much for the squad. Not just Liverpool, but I'm sure in England, the dressing room, Maguire, who's a leader, they're not fit. So Henderson will become really, really important. I think for Southgate as one of the leaders in the team, in the dressing room. And okay, he may not be 100% fit, but I think if you get 100% fit Henderson, I think he walks into the midfield in England for sure.
And finally, Kyle Pereira has his chance for revenge against
No,
Croatia.
revenge, man. There's no. Oh, against Croatia.
Yeah,
Shit, I thought against y'all.
there was so much talk in the World Cup where England said, they're going to tire, and they beat England, and they come out in the media and they say, well, we did see who tired. So come on, Carl, what is England going to do? Are they going to bring it home?
Well,
Carl.
I think England are definitely also fine. I mean, they are favorites, but we were just discussing about the Henderson and Maguire conundrum, and so I kind of also understand where you're saying like they need leaders, but I just feel like a guy like Henderson and Maguire, who are good leaders, should have been taken on a different capacity in that squad than actually being in the squad. You could have taken them as consultants or something, or mentors or something in that squad, and given.
No, but I feel it's different. It's different with Maguire because Maguire hasn't even. I don't see pictures of him training with the squad. So
Yeah,
for me, Maguire's a funny one because if you're not training with the squad 1 week left, then I don't see how you're going to even make it to the third group game.
Yeah.
And then to get match fitness and get in the zone and things like this. This is an international tournament. So for Maguire, it's a different one, I think, to Henderson because Henderson has been training with the team, 100% training maybe a week ago, and now playing these minutes. Okay, may not be that sharp, but I think Henderson you could have taken. Maguire, if he's not fit, maybe not.
Yeah.
Even if he's fit, don't take him.
No, but we talk about England and Croatia actually getting out of this group, and I still feel like, yeah, they are the favorites to get out of this group, but Croatia has a very aging squad as well. They're not exactly spring chickens anymore compared to that team that was in the World Cup final. So for me, I'm going to throw a span in the works and think that it's going to be England and Scotland that get out of it. I still think Scotland has a pretty relatively decent
Andy
squad.
Robertson.
Andy Robertson, Kieran Tierney, Ryan Fraser.
I was waiting.
We were waiting for that.
I was waiting for Tierney to come. Probably the
No, but
second
I think
fastest player to play in the Euros.
No, but more than Tierney, I'm actually looking out for Robertson because Robertson's going to lead that squad most likely, and he is a captain. So like he's going to have a lot on his shoulders, and he's had a good season with Liverpool this year, knowing that a guy like Trent Alexander-Arnold kind of fell off mid-season, you know. So he was kind of keeping all that whole creative capacity in a Liverpool squad from the wings at that point. So for me, I think he's had a really good season. And who knows? I think Scotland can swing a surprise. I still think they can grab a point from Croatia. And if they can grab a point from Croatia, beat Czech Republic, who knows? It's all open for them after that. So for me, I think, yeah, England are definitely favorites. As Sahil also said, Harry Kane, Golden Boot nominee for sure, because he's probably definitely going to be behind the goals. Not a big fan of Raheem Sterling going in the squad. I don't think he had a very good season with City, even though City won the league and stuff. But for him individually, I don't know. It's a bit dodgy. I still think there were far better players to get into that squad besides him. But I guess we'll see now. I mean, they've probably taken him.
No, I think also it's important that Southgate plays players who are in form. You know, if like Sterling's badly out of form, I'd be really mad if he started because you can't be at an international tournament there looking to get your form, looking to get rhythm, or maybe things will click. You know, if it's Phil Foden who's in form, just play Foden. I'll be very mad if Foden doesn't start
You
this
saw
game.
that in the Champions League final as well, that Raheem Sterling was off color.
Yeah.
He did not get his first touch right. He had a great chance when Edison played him through. But yeah, we've spoken a lot. We've not really spoken too much about Croatia, and, with the likes of Mandzukic, Perisic, Modric, Kovacic. But time for poetry. I think time for fan zone. KP, a word on England.
I have a lot to say on England, but I'm going to keep it super short. I mean, I'm more excited about all the youngsters coming into the squad. When I say youngsters, I mean Phil Foden, Mason Mount, because Phil Foden is a World Cup winner at the under 17 level and Mason Mount is a Euro winner at the under 21 level. They are coming with experience of playing in both these tournaments, and they've obviously had their own great individual seasons. And one is a Premier League winner, one is a Champions League winner. And another player, I know we are all going to say the Harry Kane, Marcus Rashfords, all of these are the players to look out for. But someone who no one is going to talk about is probably the two Borussia Dortmund players, Jadon Sancho and Jude Bellingham. Both won the German Super Cup. And Jadon Sancho, man, what can I say about him? 26 appearances, 8 goals, 12 assists. Creates a chance every 90 minutes. And maybe even lesser. And if you watch the game against Romania, those creative chances that he made with Grealish, that's something to look out for. I mean, I think it's just this is the youngest kind of England squad going into a tournament with only the likes of Jordan Henderson and Harry Kane being the oldest in that squad, whereas everyone in that squad is under 26 and the rest of the squad is under 21. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, but before we get done with this group, Sahil, I want to know who would be your first choice England goalkeeper?
Oh, the thing is, I think I really like Johnston the way, and he had a good game that day. But I think he's still going to pick Pickford. I mean, Pickford is he has a mistake in him every now and then, but I think just because the other two are so inexperienced, I don't think they have a lot of games under their belt at the international level, let alone a major tournament like this. So I think he's still going to stick by Pickford. He has a mistake in him, but he also pulls off some worldies. So I'd still stick with Pickford.
Fair enough. We'll move on to our next group, which has two teams, which are one-man players, and then we have Spain. So we have Poland, Slovakia, Spain, and Sweden. Sahil, I think first is a given. Second place is, I think, something we'll be hesitant on.
Yeah. Actually, I just want to say that this Spain team really impressed me in their friendly versus Portugal. I didn't know they were, that good a team because a lot of their players, I looked at the squad on paper, I'm like, I don't even get to watch these guys, because I don't follow La Liga that much. I know they're playing for their respective clubs really well. But again, Spain, I think they lack sort of like experience. Busquets is there, of course, but someone at the back like Ramos and a few others, they're going to miss that sort of leadership. Of course, I put them to win their group. The second, who else is in this group? Sorry, Spain.
There is Poland, there's Sweden, and there's Slovakia.
Ooh. I love Lewandowski, man. Uh, I'm gonna say Poland for second. I just think Lewandowski is gonna take all that Bayern Munich form and just drop it at the Euros and start banging them in. One chance, one goal. It's gonna be all 1-0. 1-0 Lewandowski, 1-0 Lewandowski,
I
1-0
really
Lewandowski.
do you think it's gonna be 1-0 though? I don't think so. Lewandowski has that fire in him, like he wants to prove someone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5-0 in like 10 minutes. But Carl, a Sweden without a Zlatan, but with a Lindelof, do you see them getting anything?
Um, Not really. I mean, I really wish the Sweden team could do a lot more better. But when you're coming against a team like Spain, who are definitely going to be favorites to get out of this group, and a Lewandowski-led Poland, again, Lewandowski has the best opportunity in this group alone. Forget the rest of the tournament. In this group alone to win the Golden Boot. Let's just say that, like, because we know how dangerous Lewandowski is. Like, he's got the best opportunity in this group to get the Golden Boot right here itself. Like, he scores two goals a game. That's it. The end of the tournament. Like, Lewandowski gets the Golden Boot, whether they go anywhere or not. But Slovakia, I guess they're the minnows. They're going to be the ones struggling a lot. And I think maybe Sweden will probably finish third, but they'll probably struggle. Who knows? I don't see Lindelof. He's a decent leader of that squad, but the rest of the squad doesn't convince me.
I
And
mean,
we all know the season that
I
Lindelof has had. Now, you know this as a Man United fan.
I lost
So,
you. I lost you at decent leader, but yeah, no. Capes.
I disagree with all of y'all, dude. I disagree with all of y'all when it comes to Sweden. Of course, they're gonna say that, but Alexander Isaac, have you all even seen him? He plays for Real Sociedad, 21 years old, beast of a player, beast of a striker. Only 21, but still scored 17 goals in 34 appearances. Best player Real Sociedad. Then they have Kulusevski, plays alongside Ronaldo in the Juventus side. Again, plays left half, right half, center attacking mid. That team can really pull a few surprises because it's a very, very young squad. It's again a very young squad. Maybe only Lindelof is the oldie over there, but in the likes of no Zlatan or no, none of these big names, I think all of these young boys can sort of prove a point over here.
But I mean, see, we're pretty sure that Spain's going to finish first. But Sahil, you're further down in the tournament. Do you think Spain's problem is going to be that they do not have a bully? Every team you think of, every big team you think of has a bully. They had that bully in Sergio Ramos. You know, they had that guy who would create that fire on the pitch. Does
When
Spain
they had
now
Ramos and Costa, it was like double bully.
exactly?
Yeah.
Now they have this very, a very hoity-toity kind of team with your
Yeah.
Moratas and your Ferran Torres and your Laporte, who are these
Mm.
very silky smooth ball-playing players, not really someone who will create that controversy and get that team. So do you think this is going to cost Spain?
I think Spain have, of course, when you don't have, as you call them, bullies, it's it's difficult. It's not difficult, but you want that in your team, especially an international tournament, to sort of lay down a marker early on against like a big team. But I think that what Spain have this time going into a competition, I think they have less pressure because everyone looks at their team and say, oh, they don't have so and so, they don't have so and so, they don't have that. So I think otherwise for the last, I don't know, 10 years, they've gone into tournaments where they've been like, oh, Spain, they're going to win, or they're going to make the final. But I think this time they are sort of seen as a dark horse but a strong team, if you get what I mean. So I think they have that less pressure going into this tournament.
But reiterating what Sahil said, there's no Real Madrid player in this squad. Having said
They're
Yeah,
having their own
crazy.
World Cup. Madrid's having their own World Cup. We're not. It's going to come on Sky Sports probably
But
somewhere down the line.
But do you guys not see maybe, I mean, I don't know, Slovakia going through?
Again, like I said, beginning when we started the group, that these are teams that are one-man teams. Slovakia with probably a Marek Hamšík,
No, but
Lewandowski for
but they do
Poland.
have other players like Martin Dubravka is playing in the squad. There's a
Yes, but is it then again? Is it good enough to compete with a side like Spain, who has 11 players playing club football at the top level, who have
Agreed.
come into the tournament after dropping players like Ramos?
Mhm.
So it's going to be a challenge. However, Laporte's not a bad defender. But I just think, like I asked Sahil as well, that you need that one bully, you need that one guy, to create that fire up on the pitch. And speaking of fire, we're going to come to our final group, which is probably the group of death, like we call it. We're not even going to count Hungary in this, but Sahil, since there's Portugal involved, and there's Germany, and there's France, I think we know the top three. But what are Portugal's chances here?
Oh man, I really, if I'm thinking about the Portugal to really top this group. Actually, going to this tournament, I really like the Portugal team. Like even though they are put in this group of death, the game against Spain they were really bad. Let me add that. That's not the last game you want to have before. I don't know what's the last game, but it was the game you want to have before going to tournament. It was awful. I really didn't enjoy that. Spain just bossed Portugal. But it's a friend. No. I would pick. Oh, I got to pick France to top this. I don't know how I can look past France to top this group. But second, I'm going to pick Portugal. I think Portugal. Ronaldo's got to take the nation. I think there's less taking the nation on his shoulders this time because a lot of the Portuguese first 11 is playing at really top teams. Killing it with João Felix, Ruben Diaz now. Bernardo Silva, of course, he's a little bit out of form, but Bruno Fernandes, of course. So all these guys, I love the team. First time in a long time that Portugal has gone into a tournament with so many players at such a high level. So I'm going to say France first, Portugal second, and Germany missing out.
And Timo Werner third. Carl, we have the biggest names in France. You have Mbappe, Griezmann. I don't want to call Pogba a big name, but for France he is. But in the middle of all this, there is still that one man who the world is saying deserves to be called the best player in the world. And do you think he is key for them to come out top in this group and in the tournament?
Who's that? Are you talking about Mbappe? Or are you talking about
N'Golo Kante?
N'Golo? Yeah, I mean the French side is just packed by the laughter. It's a stacked team, probably one of the best teams that they have this season, considering the form.
Benzema back as well.
And it's gotten even more frightening with Benzema coming back in the squad. Like you only see the attack and then you add Benzema into the works and then it's just like match khatam. Like, you don't see a chance in this. But I'm gonna be a Debbie Downer here. And I hate to say this, but I've noticed this in most groups of death in most big tournaments. Somehow or the other, I know we're not supposed to. We won't mention much about it because there's not much that we know about it. But I just have this gut feeling Hungary's going to get out of it. I have this weird feeling that Hungary's going to get out of it.
I mean, I would have agreed with you about Hungary because they have a really good future star in that team, but he is currently injured in Dominic
Szoboszlai. Yeah.
Szoboszlai. He's a very tongue twister with name over there. But he's a future star, man. If he was going to this tournament, I would 100% agree with you. And him playing in that front three, he's unstoppable. If you all have seen him play for RB Leipzig, he's just a talent. Like when you see Ousmane Dembele or like a Mbappe playing, just like raw talent, he's that. But unfortunately,
if Hungary makes it out of this group, I will come on the next balls with a United shirt.
Okay, we're getting Hungary top two. We're doing Hungary top two.
Think about it. So it's kind of ironic that from the last Euros, which Portugal won, that was a team which had decent names, but of course it was completely carried on the shoulders of Cristiano Ronaldo, even though he didn't play that final. But now we've come to a Portuguese team where you recognize more names and actually not even worrying about Ronaldo.
You can actually name 11 for Portugal and people will know the 11. Like it's the entire 11. But we've not spoken enough about Germany. So since get me Germany.
I was just gonna say that we've not spoken enough. Do you think that after them crashing out of the World Cup, are they going to come back with something to prove? I know they don't have the strike force that everyone thinks in a Timo Werner or a Kai Havertz. I mean, they won. Yes, they did win the Champions League and stuff like that, but they do have a very solid backline. Goalkeeper, we all know what Manuel Neuer can do at the international level. They have insane. I mean, the two boys from Bayern Munich playing center midfield, then Joshua Kimmich and Leon Goretzka, and Hulit gangs over there, dude, can run, pass, shoot, dribble, defend, physical, you name it, those two have
You're
it.
missing out Tony Kroos.
I think Tony Cruz will either play at the top of that triangle or behind it, but these two are going to be the
Wow,
holders in that team.
they play a midfield three of those three: Goretzka, Kimmich, and Cruz.
Yep.
Wow, that's good.
And
That's-
to top it all, they have,
Oh
I
shit!
want to say Werner. They even have Gundogan, who's there,
No,
who
but
they
Whoa.
can play in midfield.
yeah, but I do think like even a Leroy Sané can step up, a Serge Gnabry
Ooh.
can step up.
Hmm.
There are a lot of players. this group
It's-
is so
it's-
stacked. This group
Exactly.
is so stacked with players that you cannot just, like you're saying, like you just said earlier, you cannot pick out a single player. And because even yesterday when I went through all these groups, I couldn't pick out players that I thought are going to be standout players because
CR7.
I mean, man, even if a CR7 doesn't play, a Diego Jota will play, a João Felix will play in that position. Then what?
Yeah.
A Guedes can play in that position.
Even this
Like-
guy is in good form. Andre Silva.
Yeah, Andres,
For
exactly, for
Frankfurt.
How
Frankfurt.
are we not? Also, how are we not talking about Bruno Fernandes in this equation? The man's had probably one of his best seasons this season.
No, no,
It's probably because
agree.
he's not going to get to take the penalties with Ronaldo. in that team.
But I was also, having said that, I was also watching an interview with Henry just the other day, and he said that he was asked, how is it now that looking back at the World Cup winning squad that he played in to the World Cup squad that they won currently with the likes of Pogba, Mbappe, and now coming into the Euros. He said, he's like, let me stop you right there. There's a great team of youngsters, but there's that one player in Benzema. Imagine how scary a Benzema is with 34
Absolutely.
appearances, 34 appearances at his age with 23 goals, 9 assists. He is just like Henry said, imagine how scary it is that Mbappe is going to be playing around Benzema. He just has to be that pivot in the team, and Mbappe is going to be his legs. And
He
imagine
played with France played with Giroud not scoring and winning the World Cup, and now you're playing with Benzema, who is full of goals.
that's
So
scary. That's
again,
scary. That's
on the
scary.
spot, we're gonna put Sahil on the spot. Your top two. I'm gonna give you another chance here. Your top two.
I was saying France and Portugal, and then you told me the Germany lineup, and I'm like, oh shit. Oh my god! I think in moments like this, you have to go with your blood, and I choose. I still stick with France and Portugal.
I think this is the easier one in the case that the top four third place teams proceed. So I think this group is definitely going to have a third place team that's going to proceed. So coming to this, this is the end of our groups now for tournament winners. While all your hearts say, of course, Carl's heart says Netherlands, but we're going to just move past that. But Sahil, realistically, who's going to lift the cup?
Oh, I hate to say it, man, but I think France is just too strong. I don't know. I think France have like an insane team. A lot of their players in really good form as well. Like Kante is in incredible form, Benzema is in incredible form, Mbappe is always in form. Coman or Griezmann has been doing well. Oh, I think France to make the finals for sure, but this is football, so I've been playing and watching football long enough to know that we predict this way and it goes this way, and we'll be like, oh shit, France didn't make it past the group, and then so on paper it's easy to say, but yeah, I think if I had to pick one, I just go with France, but I'm hoping for Portugal, of course.
Carl.
You can't really. Like I said, I think it's a tough one between France. However, everyone is probably going to say France are the favorites, but I'll pick someone different. I'm going to say it's going to be a new champion, and I'm going to take Belgium. I'm going to give Belgium an opportunity to probably win this tournament. They also have a really good balanced squad, and if Romelu Lukaku starts firing, KDB is also fully sharp. They look likely that the team that can actually upset France if they have to meet them somewhere in the knockout phases. So I'll give it to Belgium.
And Kyle, when is England going to get knocked out? But no, realistically, who's going to lift the cup?
I mean, of course, I want to say England. I've been wanting to say England since the 90s, but I can't afford to say it. I just have to pray and hope something happens. I want to say France only because of such a stacked team, but the problem is that as we all have watched international tournaments, we know that somewhere down the line these big clubs just crash out in the beginning. We've seen it with
And Greece
Brazil.
wins in the end.
We've seen
Greece
it
wins.
with Brazil, we've seen it with Portugal, we've seen it with Germany, we've seen it with tons of people. But I'm still backing France only because of that stacked squad. Like you can't name from a goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, striker that is not playing at the top level of world football right now, and you cannot overlook them.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt. What's the scene with the stadiums and fans and things? What's it like? Are they packed stadiums or like 50%?
No, so 50%,
No?
50% fans.
50% capacity.
All
And
the
coming back
venues.
yes, all of them.
Okay.
All of them are 50%. And yeah, when you said Greece, I think if I'm not mistaken, in 2004 they won their last 3 games 1-0, and all 3 were headers.
Yeah, that's
And I don't know if I remember that guy's name correctly. But
Angelos
Karistias.
Angelos
Yes.
Karistias.
yes,
Ah.
so anyone can turn up. But yeah, I probably think I'll go with Portugal since all of you have been sweet enough to ask me. But yes,
I like that.
I am going to go with Portugal only for the fact that I think it's the only team that can match France in terms of the amount of match winners they have. And yes, I am going to miss the outside of the foot of Ricardo Quaresma, but I think age is something that's gotten to him. But yes, we have France and Portugal at the top. Sahil, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
It has
was
been
a pleasure. Good fun, guys.
Absolutely. Carl and Kyle, thank you. And for all those watching, stay home and stay safe.
Peace.
Bye bye.
Yeah.